All right, there we go. So yeah, welcome everybody, family, friends, loved ones. Thank you for attending this webinar. We talk about the Jordan House. Excited about this opportunity and to talk about real estate in the San Diego market. So without further ado, we'll get into the PowerPoint slide.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And then feel free if you have any questions, either to make notes of them or to feel free to put them in the chat. We'll be able to revisit them in a little bit. So take it away, Andre.
All right, so the Jordan House, we'll go to the next slide, please. This is the team. So Desiree, if you want to introduce yourself, then Gary, myself, and then Nika, we'll go around the room and just talk about our experience in the real estate game.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome again, everybody. My name is Desiree Dubois, and I'm the founder of An Empowered Woman in Homework. And Homework is a business where you can live where you work where you live, anywhere in the world. So we acquire luxury style homes, and we design the bedrooms to be live work suites. So women professionals and entrepreneurs can live there full time, part time, or as a drop in. So we've designed it where we have classrooms, where we have uh, the offices, we have dining room converts to conference rooms, our living room converts to event rooms. We even created a studio with a green screen and the video and podcast. So it's designed for, again, women that want to either live full-time or part-time. We also represent others who have guest houses and guest rooms, who want a more select audience. They want women professionals and entrepreneurs. So we market their properties, and the properties are all over the world. We have a couple in London, have one in Jamaica, and the rest of them throughout the United States. I've been in real estate since 1989. I started as an agent and then went to as a broker and then a investor. Anything I've done from fix and flips, everybody thinks starts with fix and flips, but fix and flips, multi-residential, syndication, short-term rentals. I did even condo hotels right here at the Hard Rock Hotel and in Vegas. I've done triple nets, long-term rentals, just all the different varieties of real estate. And that's what's so amazing about real estate is the fact that you can involve yourself in a lot of different assets classes. You find out what's most important to you. Are you looking for cash flow? Are you looking for something that will create long-term wealth, something to leave as a legacy, something that you can be hands-on, hands-off? You kind of decide which type of thing you want, and that will change. It'll just change what's happening in your life. When I started, I had two young boys. And I was saying that I met one of the founders of BRBO. He has played baseball with my kid, and that was back, and I checked, like 1995. And his wife had just had an accident, and he decided to put their winter condo on the market for rent. And when they set up the website, first they started just a page, they started the website, then they were asking people if they had any other properties to put on there. And that was way back. That's when short-term rentals started, way back in that time, way before Airbnb and so forth. It just became very popular after the recent recession, when people really needed to rent out their spaces to pay rent, which is how Airbnb got started. They needed to make money to be able to pay their rent. So they started renting out part of their apartment. They took an air mattress and rent that out for a convention. And then it was called regionally air mattress and breakfast, so it was just, they obviously have grown from there. So that industry has been around a long time. I come from the space of that you can involve yourself in real estate either individually and grow little by little and learn the hard way many times. The mistakes in real estate can be very, very expensive, or you can surround yourself with like-minded people who can do it together. And together you're always better, because together you'll be able to, you kind of learn from each other, you'll kind of grow together, and you kind of just offset some of the trials and tribulations by collectively putting the monies, putting the resources, and putting the minds together. So we found this project, and over the years, again, I've looked at all different types of projects. This one hit me because of the fact that, yes, I've been previously doing short-term rentals in the homes, but how awesome is it to do it in a house when you have 12 units? Because the largest house that we did it in was 6 units, 6 rooms. So you have 6 rooms, 6 people. This is actually taking a single family and having 12 doors and having a piece of real estate in Southern California. So we know it's going to appreciate. We know it has value. We know San Diego area has been, and Andre will share more about the tourists. You have tourists, you have military, you have medical, you have education. You have so much in that area to support whatever you're doing in that area. It's just a fantastic thing. So I really invite you to, listen and ask any questions you have and to join us on this project. And so that would be you, Gary. I'll
All
pass
right.
the mic.
My name's Gary Zimmerman. I'm a seasoned investor. I have a residential property, and I'm also involved in a $15 million commercial where I'm part of a syndication. That's a $4.5 million syndication. I'm a mechanical engineer and project manager, and my analytical skills would support well operations, financials, and our ability to scale. So I'm the numbers guy for the project. And Andre is now going to help me with that, 'cause he's a big numbers guy too. Yeah, I know he's an engineer as well, so I got some support there.
Lots of numbers. Go for it. And then Anika. Oh, I'm sorry.
Andre?
Well, Andre's.
Or is he gonna take over last?
Well, yeah, he's gonna take over last, right?
Okay.
Well, okay, Andre.
Well, yeah, so my first property was in Pacific Beach submarket of San Diego. That was a $2 million investment property. That was 4 units. And then shortly after that, I ended up doing a syndication deal in Coronado as a limited partner LP investor. And then now, of course, I was brought on to this team. Very knowledgeable about the San Diego market. I was in the news last week on Kusi's Good Morning San Diego, talking about the rise in the rent growth and appreciation in the San Diego market. I know the city like the back of my hand. So very excited about this opportunity. I know some people typically try to run away from San Diego, but I'll explain a little bit what makes this market unique. Please, everybody mute your phones, please, and your computers. Thank you. Nika?
Yes,
Not-
hi.
There you go.
I thought it was telling me to mute mine. I was like, wait. Yeah, so my name is Nika Roback. As I said, I've been working kind of in the construction industry for about 18 years as an interior designer, and a few years back moved into fix and flip. Felt like it was exactly my same job. So since then, I kind of delved more into the commercial world. I also raise capital for large projects. And currently raising a lot of capital for resort and invested in a huge resort, building the whole island. So that's been pretty exciting. And then, yeah, helping with this and moving into development on my own shortly. So that's me. Thank you.
Thank you. And then just a couple other people that are working with us is Angela Stillman. She's the president of Peacock Property Solutions. And she has over almost 20 units in that San Diego area between Little Italy and University Heights and South Park and North Park and so forth. And what she brings to the table is that she has built a team where she has about 6 to 7 24-hour, 24/7 that answer customer relations, customer service. So the bookings that come in, the questions that come in, doing the vetting for the different guests and things of that type. She also has the housekeepers that will check in, clean for check-in, clean for check-out. She has the laundry services. She has even the photographer that take pictures of the units and be able to promote them for different promotions and events that we do. Also, as far as a runner, there's a runner in the area. Somebody needs something at this property, someone that's specifically designed to be able to run it over. We'll be working with her as far as listing. I mean, not just listing Airbnb and VRBO, there's about 18 different sites that we list on. And if you go in, if you know anything about short-term rentals, you do list on, you go into one and they spread to the rest. So it's about 18 different sites we're working with, in addition to our community of women professionals and entrepreneurs, as well as, the organic traffic that comes through the area looking for rentals in that area. So she's going to be a great partner for us. And then we have Guy Merrill, who is on-site management. He's currently been in the property for over 19 years. So he's been through 2 remodels. So he knows the property inside and out. So for those minor repairs, for the maintenance, taking the trash in, taking the trash out, for the gardening, things of that type, he makes sure that the property itself will stay in tip-top condition. So we call it like a 3-tier management system. We have the Angela dealing with the guests, we have Guy dealing with the property, and then we have Gary and I dealing with the corporate, the corporate management, managing the manager, so to speak. So we feel we have it covered, and we're only 34 minutes away from the property. So everyone's pretty hands-on. And then we have Andre, who also didn't know about that, but Andre will also be, since you know San Diego from the back of your hands, you'll also be able to keep an eye on what's going on down there as well.
All right, next slide. I just want to do a confidential disclaimer statement. We're not attorneys, we're not CPAs. Please reach out to and receive legal and tax advice from the appropriate people. Of course, this is an investment opportunity, so you have to consult the right people before you make a investment decision. But we are required by law to include this at the beginning before we present the rest of the deal. Thank you. All right, so moving on to the deal. So we're going to do the executive summary first. We'll go through some interior photos and layouts with Nika. I'll talk about the location of the San Diego itself in the market, the Golden Hill neighborhood, what makes it great, market information further about San Diego. Then Gary will present the financial summary and the rent roll. We'll talk about short-term rental comparison based on the other short-term properties that are in the Golden Hill area, your return projections for the investors, exit return projections, and then we will finish up going a little bit about the co-living and the co-working model from Desiree, and we'll go into content information and frequently asked questions. All right, so the executive summary. So the Golden House, Jordan House, we have 12 micro units. All of them have a bathroom. House size, we have 2,700 square feet, a lot size of 3,900. It was built in 1905, but it was recently renovated in 2020. Excellent location. The property is in very well conditioned right now. So the value add opportunity of upgrading the interiors and exteriors will be pretty minimal. We have a finished attic, which will be converted into a common area, like a business center, which you'll see further in the pictures. We have an outdoor common area with a barbecue and an on-site laundry and a common kitchen as well. All right, Nika.
Yes. So as you can see, the current images, it's pretty bland. We plan to make it look way nicer than that, bring it into what we call a kind of our luxury style. All the rooms there, like you said, the thing that I like first was very excited about is that where in the world are you going to find 12 bedrooms that have their own bathrooms? I mean, that is just amazing. I love that about the property. It has been remodeled recently in 2020, so all the bathrooms are clean and nice. We don't have to do any hard construction. We just will be doing the redesign of all the rooms, picking out all of the furniture, just really upscaling it for that. Everything that you need necessity wise. Since we do have the co-working, we are going to make sure to include desk, plenty of seating, comfortable to do both. The rooms are anywhere from about 150 square feet to 350 square feet. So even in the smaller ones, we were thinking we could do a Murphy bed. We can also possibly do a flip down desk if need be, depending upon the layouts of the various rooms. So here's just some more. A couple of the bedrooms have a fireplace. 2 of the bedrooms have a working fireplace in them, which is really, really nice. Those are obviously the larger rooms. So some lucky person will have a little cozy fire. So as you can see, we're going to keep all of the bedding very nice and bright, very luxurious. Lots of nice task lighting to work by and read by if you need to in the evenings.
Lots of great windows too. A lot of great windows. This one's looking out at San Diego.
Yeah, there's one bedroom that if you see from the first image that it's kind of juts out on the second floor and it has windows all the way around. That's the only one that the bathroom is. It's still a private bathroom, but it's a little bit down the hall. So here's just some more ideas of what kind of the current that you can see, not so exciting, and then some of our ideas of what we're going to do. Here's some more. We're going to have, we're going to look to see which ones are more, can be used more for having this storage spaces in them and how to best kind of maximize the space for having storage and for being able to have the desk. And always some nice flowers that we have in there as well.
Yeah, so this good news is that all we need is beds, beddings, and accessories, right?
Yeah.
Because lighting, all the floors and everything else is really clean.
Here's the co-working lounge. So they currently had a whole finished attic that they weren't even using. They keep it as storage, as you can see, for the vacuums and things of that nature. So given our model of the co-working, we're going to make it into kind of a WeWork space, a co-working space. You can kind of see the big long table and the chairs, and maybe have a little one off to the side for a smaller area. But we'll see how that lays out in that room. It's nice. It has some sunlight. The sunroof. So it'll be a nice, beautiful space. This I love too, the whole common area for where you can have the outdoor barbecue and outdoor seating. There's both in the front and the back for the outdoor. We're gonna have fun nights that like barbecues, movie nights, theme nights, Taco Tuesdays, wine tastings. That's kind of part of the communal aspect to this house that you can enjoy. Here is a photo of the kitchen. It's already been redone, so we're just gonna kind of make it look nicer, maybe some nice bar stools, and make sure that we have all of the good plates and things of that nature, coffee makers and stuff, so you can come in and use it. Blenders for your blender.
And so outside, they have that large screen TV, like, for the movie nights, it's outside in that corner there, which is really cool, because not many outside patios have that.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. That's so awesome.
That's one of my favorites.
I know, right? Yeah. Here you can kind of just get an idea of the sense of the floor plans and the layout. There's the first floor and the second floor, pretty similar, except for the one where the bedroom is kind of off and you can see it in the image where it says bedroom number 6 is the one that juts out, the bedroom that juts out, that has the windows all the way around. It does have a view. What's nice about that, it has a view of downtown San Diego. It's just gorgeous.
Okay, location. So what's exciting about Golden Hill is that Golden Hill is one of those neighborhoods within San Diego that rarely comes online. And to be a block from the San Diego Zoo, a block from Balboa Park, a couple of blocks from Gaslamp and Little Italy, this is considered an A+ location within San Diego. People kill for this. You're close to all the sporting and social events, restaurants, Petco Park. Petco Park is located downtown, so this is an A+ location for anything. And also there's many restaurants and bars nearby as well within walking distance, a walk score of 90+. Next slide, please. All right, the Golden Hill neighborhood. Like I mentioned before, one of those rare neighborhoods within San Diego that rarely comes online. Technically, it's considered part of downtown, but it's near North Park and South Park in East Village. Definitely an excellent investment opportunity. And one of the things I love about the San Diego market is that it's a great time to invest. We're constrained by the mountains compared to San Francisco and LA and other large booming markets like Texas and Phoenix, because we can't grow any further. We have this huge demand, but not enough supply. We're second in the appreciating market behind Phoenix, but next year we're expected to surpass them by 8.3%. And just to give you a perspective, again, why we're very excited about this opportunity in San Diego is a lot of opportunities don't come online because it's a high barrier to entry. The home prices are very high. But to give you an estimate, Blackstone, which is the largest real estate private equity firm in the US, they just invested $1 billion in apartments in San Diego. They don't make moves without ever knowing the market or giving careful thought into what they're doing. So that gives you a perspective of why you have one of the largest private equity firms investing in San Diego in our market. And our economy itself, the economy of state for San Diego is 25th as an economy, and we're just a city. We're not even a state. So that gives you a perspective too of the market. We're not over. Tourism is a big part of the San Diego market, but the military is a big part too. No single sector represents more than 16% of the market. And when you're investing in any multifamily deal, that's what you want, right? Because if one sector goes down, that affects all your profits, right? You have all your rents, that affects your ability to release the units. So and for tourism or whatnot. So to have it where this market, where we don't have more than 60% is big. And then even the military presence, everyone knows the military presence here is big within San Diego market. And so here's again, following the trend, 60% of the US fleet is expected to come on the West Coast by 2023. And to give you perspective, we all know where the war and the tide of the war is going with China. And that's because we're on a Pacific pivot towards Asia. So we're going to outpace Norfolk soon. The focus is going to be on San Diego. So again, another reason why it's very exciting to have something come online within San Diego, and the importance of this market, the rising rent growth, the rising appreciation. The barrier entry might be high, but you know it's very fruitful on the back end. Next slide, please.
Pretty much covered all that.
Yeah.
Well, this is another view, you know,
Yeah.
from the property where you see how the downtown skyline and the Coronado Bridge and so forth. And it's great because it's a mix, it's multi-residential as well as residential. So you don't have all of one, which gives you, you know, a great mix.
Next slide, please.
Okay.
All right, Gary, you're up.
Great.
Okay. So currently the gross potential rent is 204,000. They rent the units right now for about $330 a month, except for the one. Actually, you can see it jutting out there with the windows all the way around it. Room 6. That one's $300 since it only has a bathroom that is separate, but it is private bathroom. But these are weekly rental rates. They're not monthly. It's $330 a week for the rest and $300 for that one. That gives you a total of 204,000. With a 4% vacancy rate, which is a standard long-term vacancy rate, the effective rental income is 196,000. They do have an on-site laundry, which they make about $500 a year on that, and that gives their effective gross income of 196,000. Their expenses are about 71,000, which gives you an net operating income of 125,998, or 26,000. So we're looking at bringing the rental rates up to market because they're below market right now. So we intend to be able to reach a pro forma gross potential rent of 391,000, or just about 391,000. Again, you subtract the 4% vacancy rate, that gives you effective rental income of about 375,000, add 500 for the laundry. And then the expenses we're calculating right now is 88,000, which is higher than it is currently, but the management fees, which if you look down on the bottom, you'll see management fee is 10%, and that goes off of the rent. So the management fees will be higher. So that brings us to a net operating income of 287,000 versus 125,000. So it's more than double.
One thing I want to point out here is that what's currently being used for, the property is currently being marketed to people with fixed income, low fixed income. So it's majority of men. There's had a couple ladies in there that were travel nurses, but it's designed for people that just pay by the week. They literally, it's a community that doesn't even have checking accounts. Most of them pay by cash every week because they get, you know, this income from the government or for other subsidiary sources. And so that's why the rents are low, and that's what it's designed for. The good news is that it's so clean that all we had to do is market it to the retail market, so to speak, again, to the tourists, to the short-term rental market, which means that we're able to just about double the revenue as a result of that. So through the redesign and through the remarketing and marketing as a co-working and co-living, you know, as part of that concept, gives us that ability to do so. So that's a huge difference. It's a great opportunity to be able to find something that's working, but we're going to be able to just change the marketing to a different market and then change the design.
So here's the rent roll that we were talking about. You can see their weekly rental rate is $330 for 11 of the units and $300 for one. So that's $17,160 annual, and for 11 of them, and $15,600 for the 12th one. So that gives you your 204,000. We're looking at doing a combination of monthly, weekly, and daily rentals. So you have a couple of people that maybe they're longer term. So the monthly rentals, we calculated at 23,400. The weekly rentals is 31,200. And the daily rental is $100 a day, which is 365 days would be 36,500. So that's how we get to the almost 391,000.
Another thing I want to take note is that that is flexible. So we'll keep in touch with the conventions, the Comic-Cons and the events like that where they need it, there's more of a housing need, a short-term housing need. And then we can fluctuate those monthly and those weeklies to daily rentals. So we have that flexibility. We're not going to sign long-term agreements. So we can do that. There's a company, or there's different sources called Pricing Dynamic, and it's like AirDNA. And once you implement their programs, they tell you what the market is at any given day and time. That's based on the events, the seasons, and so forth. So this is just kind of a basic, but that will be fluctuating to maximize the rents as often as we possibly can.
So this is a short-term rental comparison we did. Andre, if you want to jump in, you're more than welcome to do that as well. You probably know more about this than I do. But this was an Airbnb that we ran for June 15th and 16th. And you see where the $200 black one is, that's near where the property is that we're looking at. And they're getting $200 a night for that. And it's basically one room in a house, a bedroom that's in a house.
So we wanted to provide this so when you typically do a multifamily syndication deal, you always, and the value add is the approach, which is what we're doing. And when I say value add, I mean upgrading the exteriors, the interiors, implementing a RUB system to decrease like watering expenses. Those are value add things that you do to a property to raise the income and decrease the expenses. But one thing that you always do as well is you always run the comps. You compare the comps, and by comps, I mean everything that in the area that's similar make. Square footage, bedroom, amenities, and whatnot. And typically what you want to do in a value add opportunity, you want to make it just as nice, but you want your pricing to be a tad bit lower. Why? Because that makes you more marketable. And so we're providing this to show you that these are what similar makeup with square footage and bedroom and the amenities and how the pictures look, the bedroom and whatnot. This is the prices that we're getting will be a tad bit lower, which will make the Jordan House stand out.
Okay, so we have two levels of investment into the Jordan House. One is 50,000 to 999,000, and the second is 100,000 or more. So if you're in the 50 to 99,000 range, what we're planning on providing is a 9% annual return on investment. So the distributions will be quarterly, January, April, July, and October, with the first one in January of 2022. So at that level, you'll get 9% per year. As you can see down below, we're anticipating an exit between 4 and 6 years. But then if you invest 100,000 or more, then we will provide an extra percent. So you get a 10% ROI, annual ROI on your money. And then you can see what down below examples of those investments and what it would pay for that ROI that we're planning. And then upon exit, after the principal is returned, and the investors will share 40% of the net profits to be split amongst those investors based on the amount you invest. So this is a exit return projection. So you can see what we're currently at. We're paying 1.9 million for the property, and the NOI is 126,000. That gives us a 6.3% cap rate for this property, just about. And if we hold that 6.3% cap rate and we increase the rents, the NOI is going to go up, which increases the value of the property. So at year 4, we're projecting the property to be worth about 3.2 million, year 5, 3.4 million, and year 6, 3.7 million. So then once you deducted all of the expenses out of that, that leaves a net profits of about 969,000, 970,000, which right now we were projecting $850,000 raise in the amount of capital. So that the 40% of the 970 would be 387,000 split amongst the investors, 850,000. So on a $50,000 investment, your exit return would be $22,800. You would be getting your 9% annual return. So that gives you a total return of $40,800 off your original investment of $50,000. So that your total return amount would be $90,800. You can see for $50,000 investment for year 5, we're at 100,000, a little over 100,000, and year 6, we're at 111,000. If you look down at the $100,000 investment, that number goes up to 185 because you're getting 10% per year rather than 9%. And your total return for 5 years would be 206,000, and for year 6 will be 228,000. So there is if you read the note on the bottom, we were asked by the lawyers to put this in there, that actual performance may differ from these projections. So just so
So we've been very conservative
Yes.
in projections. So again, what you want to think about is what you come in with, and then what you
Yes, okay.
walk away with.
Pretty much, I think we just mix everything together. So it says mix-ins, chili pepper, jalapenos, red pepper, poppy seeds, everything seasoning.
That sounds great. Okay, you got this.
You sure?
All of us. That's the only prerequisite. Anyway, I was talking about getting the value add, not only through the redesign, but the marketing. And I think right now, most people are familiar with short-term rentals and how that market has grown and how people have been able to generate lots of cash through that process. Now you add on the co-living and co-working, and previously, pre-pandemic, it's been referred to as a lot of millennials. Now since the pandemic, it's everyone. There's many people that are now working from home. They're digital nomads. They can work from anywhere, actually. So what we found out during the pandemic is that loneliness and depression, a lot of people really experienced that when they were quarantined alone, and they didn't realize how dependent they were to their community. And so it was 8.5% before COVID, it was 31% during COVID. And then the freedom and flexibility, as I mentioned, that 10.9 million American workers are now identified as digital nomads. And that now things are opening up, that's going to increase because a lot of the businesses have been able, taking time to assess the cost of having offices and all those amenities, and they realize that it's much more expensive and just as effective to have their team work from home or work remotely. So that has increased from 48% since 2019. And there's a lot of reasons for that. As I mentioned, the community, people really realize how dependent they were upon the community. So even if you're working from home, who do you connect with? Who do you talk to on a day-to-day basis? So you'll have a community, you'll have the work environment with all the amenities for fax machines and the good Wi-Fi and copy machines and things of that type that you need to be able to work from. It's flexible stays. You don't have to sign a contract. Again, you can stay a day, a week, a month, as roam around as you need. It's affordable. It's much more affordable because you pay one flat fee. So not worrying about your utility bills, not worried about your internet bills, not worried about your Wi-Fi, your TV bills and Netflix and stuff. You're not worried about your basic toilet tissue and paper towels and your coffee. All that's included in one price. It's very convenient because, again, this is only one of the beginning of the different locations that we want to be able to work with and open. I can go from place to place. Collaboration, a lot of things happen when you're working and living together, even if it's for a short period of time. You meet friends, you meet clients, you meet partners. So that will be a definitely benefit, especially when we have the different activities where people are able to do that. Because if you're in a hotel or even an Airbnb by yourself, where do you go when you want to have a drink, either besides the bar? If you want to be able to talk to somebody besides the lobby. So this way you're able to go to one of those one of our common areas and be able to connect. There is a housing shortage. So if nothing else, we're being able to help solve that housing shortage by being able to accommodate 12 people. You can live in travel light. And then especially for women, it's the security. It currently has 12 cameras around the property that lead into one main panel 24/7. So you know that when you're coming in and going out, you're feeling secure. And again, we'll have individual keypads that are going to create another level of security. So it's just knowing, even if just a matter of knowing that's where you are, that you've been gone or not gone, things of that type, people will be able to, it gives you a sense of security. So that's one of the biggest benefits of what we're doing, not only because of the income opportunity, but because of the fact that we're actually going to be making a difference in the world. And basically that is it as far as that. So now all your questions, your ideas, your feedback, I'm going to stop sharing and we can
Yes.
now continue talking.
Yeah, I saw a couple questions I put in the chat box for people to start typing in their questions as they came up to mind during the presentation. I saw 3 already. So Rob, you want to go first? Rob, you still there?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I had to unmute myself.
Yeah, you want to go first in your question?
Yeah, sure. And I got my background. I'm going to just stop my video. So, a short-term operator myself, understanding what the city of San Diego is doing with restricting short-term housing the short-term housing. They're coming down the pipe right now saying, hey, we're going to restrict to 1% of the housing stock. So how do you guys, with this, I mean, I'm a capitalist. I want to make money any way possible. With this, it seems fairly egregious from a California standpoint to basically turn low income affordable housing into short-term maximizing profit housing. So if I'm the city and I'm saying, hey, I'm coming after short-term rentals, this property is one that I'm saying you're not doing that.
Okay.
So
I guess.
how are you guys fighting that?
Surely. That property has always been used as, again, even a week is considered short term. So they rent it by the week, but that's still anything under 30 days is considered short term. So it's always been operated as a short term. So we're grandfathered into that. The permits, the licenses and everything are in place for that. So it's always from day one, it's always been used as that. That's always the use of it. And again, even if it's always been used as a short term, because if it's a week, and some people come in for a shorter period of time, some people have stayed there longer, but it's always been a short-term rental. So we're grandfathered in on those different things.
Yep.
Believe me, that's the first thing we looked at. That's one of the first things.
Well, so
Great question.
I think JT he had the same question. Marcus? He said, could this possibly be used as a residential small business incubator? I mean, I can take that one. That's one of the beauties of having multifamily. You can really make it a mixed use. I'll give you an example, like my property in PB. I have 3 long-term tenants and my 4th one's an Airbnb. So there's a way around it. Also too, short-term rentals, I think a lot of people think about like VRBO and Airbnb, but short-term rental doesn't always deal with that. It also deals with nurses and corporate. So that's where that small business incubator comes with. You'll see a lot of properties, specifically like in the Mission Beach area in San Diego, in those coastal communities. The lower part will be a small business, and then the rest of it will be apartments above. So you'll see that. You also see that a lot in downtown. So again, you're right. This could be also used with corporate or a business coming in here and doing all 12 units or half the house and doing it that way. And they'll pay higher rates for the corporate. And of course, nurses too. Nurses is a very big industry in San Diego. They travel here a lot. I've actually had a lot of nurses come in and out of my property already. So it's a very big industry within San Diego. So very unique way to do multifamily, many ways to skin a cat and make profits.
Yes, you're right. And because you still have a lot of medical facilities. You have a lot of colleges. So you have, experts, scholars, professors that come in for short terms and different things. In the corporate part, yes, many times some companies are going to a certain area to build out a shopping center or build a new location or whatever it is, and they will bring their teams in. And instead of giving them individual apartments or hotel rooms, this is a much more affordable source for them. So they can rent the whole property, have all their teams, and what's really powerful about that, because we've had them use even the homes, is that they do that because a home office never closes. So they realize they get more productivity from people that don't have to, go out and go check in, check out, and do the utilities, do all those things. So it's less expensive for them and more productive for them.
Kevin asked about parking. How is parking handled? Potential for 12 cars when all units are occupied. So yeah, there isn't a parking garage. You typically don't. A lot of these small multifamilies in San Diego don't have that. They usually don't have parking spots. It's typically you park on the street. But Golden Hill is one of those neighborhoods where there is a lot of parking, separate from what you will see in Gaslamp and Little Italy. But there's ample parking throughout the neighborhood and on the street.
Yeah, people that are used to living in those areas and working in those areas, they know that the parking, it's free parking.
Any other questions anyone have?
Good ideas, good questions.
I do have another question
Yeah.
about the laundry facility. I didn't hear, maybe I missed it, the detail in terms of when you have tenant changeover, how all that laundry and stuff will be taken care of when it comes to the beds.
What we do is we have extras. You have like duplicates and triplicates of everything. Most of our beds are going to be the same size, going to be double-sized beds, maybe a few exceptions. So you have extras of that. We always use white because white is considered, it's very popular. It's just clean, and a lot of people like white because they can see how clean it is. And you can easily bleach the stains, and it has better longevity as far as the business part. The housekeeping will come in after every person checks out and change everything. And they put the dirty things into a certain area, and then they put the clean ones on. Then every so often, depending on the need, you'll have a laundry service that come picks that up. So they pick up, they clean it, and they bring it back. So we'll have extras. They pack it up in bulks. We have it by the rooms, so pillowcases, top and bottom, and so forth. So, and even the covering, you have covers for pillow covers and mattress covers. So we can kind of go a couple different levels. But it's all white, it's all clean, and it's laundry service that does it. So as soon as the housekeepers come in and do the change outs, like to clean the rooms, they have a facility that they put it in. And then according to a schedule, we'll create a schedule as needed. We don't do it there on the property, it's sent out because they have more washers and dryers and they have hotter water. The laundry that's there, it's a coin laundry that we will own, and it's available for people that want to do their own individual private laundry in between. They didn't make much of from it before, but I think women do laundry a little bit more often than men do. So, that's a small revenue source for us, but it is another revenue source.
JTX is part of the raising for CapEx. How is tax reporting handled? I can take the tax reporting question, but Gary, since you specialize in more of the finance and the budget, you want to take the raising for CapEx. It is included, by the way, but you want to go into the specifics of that, Gary?
So the raising of capital, this is all covered in the PPM. They set it up as a pass-through, I believe, for the depreciation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you invest, then you will get a K1 every year, and that will have your depreciation that will be on it as well. So the capital we're planning on raising right now is $850,000, and some of this is based on the financing that we're working on right now. And that number, excuse me, could go up or it could go down. So we may need 850,000, and then again, we may not.
Another thing though is that the when you get your K1, your depreciation, you take it to your accountant, and if it's applicable, if you can use it that year, then great. If not, you can carry it over to another year. So yeah.
Well, so I'm familiar with the process. I was more asking about, are you working with a particular CPA firm that would be handling that process?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
We definitely will be handling a CPA firm because we believe in keeping our hands off.
Got it.
Third party.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is the management company involved also in the investment itself?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good, just to piggyback what you're saying, JT, which applies to everyone, the K1 that you'll get annually, that we'll give for people for the pass down for depreciation, it'll flow through the LLC to the LP investors. And of course you want that. That's the beauty of investing in real estate, because you get those depreciation to offset your income, your W-2 income. Steven? Good?
Maybe one more follow-up. I'm sorry, Andre.
Go.
So, and Gary, this might be for you as well. So with something like this, is this something that you would do a cost segregation study on with
Yes.
12 units?
Yes. So typically in multifamily, you want to do a cost seg the first year. That's how you get the best bang for your buck. So for anyone that doesn't know, cost segregation study is another tax tool that we use as real estate investors to offset our income. So every asset, so small residential multifamily, 4 units and below, it has a lifespan of 27.5 years. Commercial, which is 5 and above, has 39 years. So basically what you do in a cost segregation, you accelerate that depreciation. So excluding the land, the value of the property and everything within it, such as laundry, bedding, refrigerators, the tile, all of that has a depreciation scale, just like the property, the building itself. So when you do a cost segregation study, you pay a separate company and they accelerate the depreciation within the first year. So that gives more money. That's a win-win for all of us, because that means as LP investors, you get more money back in your pockets, and so do we. But you always typically standard, you do it the first year because you accelerate the most because you just acquired the property.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So there's a slight thing with that, and it's good, Andre, is that for my position, I was told that by my accountant that's a great depreciation you got there. Too bad you can't use it.
So you can carry it
But
through.
you can carry it over to following years. So that's a benefit of this as well. So
Yeah. I think, Gary, you're the only one that applies. Yeah, we're not high up there like that, like you are. Stephen Sumter, how often will updates about the property be sent out to investors? Typically what I'm used to seeing, it's addressing the PPM, but typically you'll see it monthly or quarterly. That includes like the renovation. As renovations go on, we'll send out updates, things of that nature, anything related to the property. And whoever is in charge of investor relations, which will be Desiree, she'll send out those. It'll be a newsletter. It'll have pictures. It'll have, it'll also have updates on like the financials, how things are going, how many, for example, like even once we close and it goes online, it'll show you like estimates of how many books did we receive, total profits, expected profits, things of that nature. So you'll see that. How will we know if things are doing better than expected? You'll see that in the newsletter.
We'll be shouting it out from the roof. You'll know.
Any sort of plan for dividends, and the dividends and the distributions will be set forth in the PPM on when you are expected to receive your first dividend. But Gary, you can talk about the specific dates on that.
yeah,
It's quarterly,
first,
January.
yeah, it'll be paid quarterly. The distributions will be quarterly, and the first distribution will be in January of 2022.
All right. And then is there a cap on how many folks are able to invest? Typically, when you do, there's 2 different thresholds with investors in a syndication. You have accredited and you have sophisticated. Typically, an accredited is a person that has a net worth of, makes an income, was it $200,000? And then if you're married, it's $300,000 jointly, or they have a net worth of $1 million or more that doesn't include their primary residence. So that's an accredited investors. Of course, not many, a lot of people don't fit that threshold. Then you have sophisticated. A sophisticated investor is someone that they deem that is basically you have some experience, or you have knowledge of a basic idea of what real estate is, and then based on your own sound and judgment, you can make a decision on whether to invest or not. So of course that applies to most people. In a sophisticated investor, typically you have 35 slots. That's typically standard for a syndication deal.
This one is set up, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maximum. We don't intend to reach that max,
Yeah.
though. We believe that less is more,
Yeah.
but we don't tend to reach that max based on the commitments that we have already.
We will likely fill up before we hit that 35 threshold.
Yeah. And then Uncle Caleb, you're asking, do you, the syndicate, currently possess this property? No, I mean, we're in escrow right now, but we won't occupy or possess the property until we close end of July. Any other questions?
Hey, Dre, question for you. Forgive my ignorance because I'm mostly a single family investor guy, but 5,000 in reserves seems kind of low for a 12 unit. I don't know, just curious for y'all's thoughts on that.
It is.
5,000.
Remember, because like I mentioned, it's in the deck. We need to change that. We have
Yeah.
allotted for 60, we have allotted for 6 months.
Yeah,
and
78,000, I believe.
78,000, but we're going to go to the full 78,000 because that's a lot of money just to keep in reserve. So we're going to use $60,000. So we need to change that. You don't need every penny of, you don't want to tie up so much money in reserves because the roof has been done, it's been inspected, so we don't need roofing, we don't need, plumbing has just been done and inspected, we don't, the windows, the foundation, all those big things have already been done. So the only thing that we would need reserves for is if for something happened in the market where we needed to carry it through, but otherwise, as far as property improvements, we don't foresee anything at this time. So
Yeah, this-
yes, we need to change that
Yeah.
to 60,000.
Yeah, our initial PPM, once you read the PPM, you'll see that in there, what our initial amount is going to be for our reserves. I think the 5,000 is what they had in there currently
Theirs, right.
to maintain the reserves. So that's what the 5,000 is.
Right.
It's just to maintain reserves. It's,
Right.
and that may go up or down depending on what we see that's going on with the property. If there's something we see long-term that we think needs to be addressed, then we'll withhold more.
Yeah, but typically
Thank you.
3,000, 5,000 is what 3,000 to 5,000 a unit is typical standard for a syndication multifamily deal, which if you take the 5,000 by 12 units, that's your 60,000 right there.
Cool. That makes sense. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Hey, I thought I heard something about a 4-year buy-in. Can you repeat and tell me again what happens after year 4?
Between year 4 and 6 is our anticipated exit. And, it's hard to judge because we're going to be following the market to see we're going to be following the market. We're going to be following our revenue. So if we're just rocking and rolling all the way through, then there's no reason to stop. Then we'll just keep going. But we'll be watching the market. Usually it takes about that amount of time for a property for a market to make any changes or adjustments. Void things like COVID and other things, but usually normally it doesn't. They don't see that much of a change. So if we see that the property has doubled or tripled or something really great, it gives us the opportunity to be able to sell it sooner, or it gives us the opportunity to be able to work, a little longer until 4 to 6 years. So that's just 6 years would be the max, and we're anticipating that 4 years would be the earliest that we would liquidate it. It's, for example, we get an offer for a buyer. Sometimes there's a lot of different companies that are buying smaller boutique type of properties, whatever sector you're in. So if we got an offer that we couldn't refuse, then we would present it to you and we decide from there if we exit sooner.
Okay. So this could be a short term.
Yes, if you consider 4 years short term, yes.
Yeah, right. That is short term.
Yes, it is. In real estate, it is. Mhm.
Thank you.
Great questions. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Because it means I take it as a compliment because it means you guys are really thinking and paying attention. You're actually thinking and paying attention. So I appreciate
Any
it.
major construction needing to be done? No, so the exterior of the property is in great condition. The interior of the units are in good condition, as Desiree and us presenting the photos. Light value add for the interior with the bedding and some painting, cosmetic things on the walls. For the interior, exterior doesn't need much work. So there is no major construction needing to be done on this property, which is what you want because that's a quick turnaround. So we can get everything back on market and renting and cash flowing. Someone asked about amenities. Amenities include the common areas. Laundry will also be included in a way as an amenity because it's on site. Another way to just generate revenue, a value add opportunity that we could do with that amenity is you could take it from coin to a card with app. That makes it more feasible for the generation. I did that exact value add in my property in PB, and that doubled the income I get from my laundry.
Yeah, no, that's one of our intentions too, is to change that out. Right now, it's a kind of old school, again, because of their clientele. So they have like the door keys, for the doors. So, because they meet the person there and they give them the keys and that type of thing. So we'd all have it automated. They would be able to, go and use keyless touchpads. They also have to go in, but now we do things virtually. Even their payments, they have a mailbox inside. They have to make the payments in cash and money order into a little mailbox. Obviously, we use the third-party services like Zelle or PayPal and things of that type. So there's a lot of little updating like that we use, but it's still very minimal. We had the property inspections and even the termite inspections, and there was nothing that we presented to the seller to fix or repair. So that gives you an idea of how good of condition it is. just cosmetic things.
Kevin asks, what's the value created from the forest appreciation from rehab maintenance? I mean, you wouldn't, without having an appraiser, you wouldn't be able to directly, I couldn't give you a number and say like 200,000 or 100,000 is created from the value, but you have two things working for you, right? That's the purpose of the value add is you increase you're able to market rents and raise the value of property because you're doing that forced appreciation. But again, with being in San Diego, that's the icing on the cake with the natural appreciation from this market. But in terms of the exact number value, we wouldn't be able to give that to you without consulting an appraiser, and that will be after the fact. But that's something that happens across the board, no matter what market you're in. When you add value, when you upgrade bathrooms or interiors or exteriors, no matter what state you're in, you're gonna force the appreciation.
Another thing to keep in mind too is that this is being marked, or you need to look at this as a commercial property. So commercial properties, the value is determined upon the NOI, the net operating income. So we're taking that income that they have now, that $330 a week, and even at $100 a day, you're doubling that. Basically, you're doubling that. And then if you did any other variations of that, if you got more, some days in certain different events, you're going to get more than that. So that's the value add, because those numbers is going to determine the value or increase the value of the property, because our numbers are going to change, and our numbers are going to change, and we'll be able to double that because it's a different market. You know, if you're marketing to low income people, or if you're marketing to luxury side people or travelers, it's a different market. So just redesigning it will enable us to be able to do that. So our value of the property will increase basically because our income will be able to increase. And as much as that increases, the value will.
Yeah, so like what Desiree is saying, like in real estate, the value is the NOI divided by the cap rate. Mm-hmm. So the NOI, basically what she's saying, right? So if you did anything to raise the income, laundry, the rents, and decrease expenses, whatever it may be, if that numerator on the NOI goes up, the value goes up. If the cap rate goes down, the value goes up. So, and of course the cap rate, we don't control as much as dependent on the market. But like she was saying, when you have single family SFR, single family residence, as you all know, when you buy a regular home, the appraisers determine the value of your home based on what is in the neighborhood, the surrounding comps. But in multifamily, again, that's the beauty of it, is that that's another reason what makes it recession resistant is, and that why people love multifamily is because we're not dictated by the surrounding homes. It's what the income of the property is. You're legitimately buying a business when you buy a multifamily asset.
I'd like to add one thing too. With short-term rentals, it is all about it's about the experience. So, and I probably didn't make that choosing our certain furniture, if you will. If you saw, like, even in her pictures of some of the comps of the other places for $200 a night, is just like, oh my gosh, how could they get away with letting someone stay with that? I mean, we're very experienced in what's going to look. Yeah, I mean, even some of these Airbnb, you're like, oh my God, you see the photos of them, but ours is going to be really designed nicely. It's not a renovation. It's literally picking the furniture and even catering to. That's what I was trying to say about even making sure that they can make a shake if they want to. I mean, it's about the experience, maybe a waffle machine, it's the little things that go, oh, they even have that there, and making sure that they have a plug next to their bed for their phone, or, it's all of those little things too with the amenities, that we get the best Wi-Fi. So they don't have to crash and not able to make their meetings, so that you just have those little things there for them, for their working and for their living, that makes it convenient and beautiful. So
you bring up a good point, Nika, is that it is about the experience, and that's what we specialize in. For example, women that are traveling, if you go into a hotel and you get there late, you're either held hostage to the room service, if there is anything available and what they have on the menu. Whereas you go into a home like this, they have services that deliver. Some of the ladies have purple carrot. They have other healthy options that are being delivered to the property. So when you come in, even if it's late, 12, 1, 2 o'clock at night, your food, your good food, your healthy food, the food that you want is there ready for you to be able to prepare, whether it's through a microwave or for cooking. So even something like that helps people stay on diets, help people stay on track. And that's a desirable. Some of the things that I look for when I'm traveling is like, what access to good food do I have? Healthy food. Yeah. Many times the hotels don't offer it. Or if you're in an Airbnb by yourself, you're subject to just whatever Grubhub or Uber Eats can deliver for you. So
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, even the little point, one thing when we first came to yours, that I was like, oh, she even got like a little foot scrub, like what, even the things that excite you when you go to the hotels, that she had a little shower cap, or it's those things that you go, wow, they made sure to have just nice thing, a little mint on your pillow. I thought that was really a little chocolate mint on your pillow. That doesn't cost a lot, but it means a lot to say, oh, a very nice like scrubbing thing in the shower. It's those small things that make it even more of that experience. And having a hair dryer, or curling iron, or something that women forget and need, that we have access to. So yeah.
All right, Broccoli asked a very good question. Is with the short turnaround timeline of 4 years, how long do you anticipate rebranding to take to market to the audience we are discussing?
It doesn't take long because of the fact that we're already going to be set up through Angela, through the short-term rental booking sites. So we have those sites that will be immediately just, push the plug. As soon as we have a very short turnaround time, I mean, Nika and I are going to probably work within 4 days is our goal, which means that we're going to have everything delivered and prepared and the team ready, because I've done full remodels in 4 days. So this will be just to be designed to be able to get it up and on the market. So let's say even 4 days to a week, worst case scenario. So immediately, even while you're doing that, you can start promoting it on, because you'll have pictures of, simulate pictures of what it's going to look like that you can use. You can use different programs you can use where you can create a room, that's what you think it's going to look like, and take pictures of that as the rooms. It doesn't have to be exactly the room. And so we're promoting it before. I mean, Angela, we were with her one day when she was just signing a lease on some of the properties. She had not even furnished it, and she already booked it, and she was already booked the same day. I mean, she wasn't even ready to have the properties for like a month later. So we'll start booking it right away. We will take at least 6 months to transition more of our people, more of the organic traffic into it. We estimate about 6 months maximum, because we're going to do a big PR, we're going to do a big launch, we're going to do different things that we have within our community. We're going to make sure that we can have it stabilized before we start putting those services, the third-party services, on the back end. But they always will be there. So the minute there's something that comes up, they'll be there to be able to put it in. Our decision to do that, because this gives us even more revenue, because there'll be less third-party fees that you have to pay from those services, but we're not going to, they will always be in the back end. So immediately when we need people, just turn that faucet on and then we'll keep it. Short-term rentals fill up even before you have them ready. I'm sure you've experienced the same thing, Andre. You haven't had any downtime. It takes no time to turn that on and get them filled up.
We will literally pre-book. So when my property was going under renovations, I already had the listing up. And just because it's the location of San Diego, people will literally pre-book just to get those spots filled up. So that way, the moment you go live, you have that start date, you already have people coming in day one through the door.
They're pre-booked for months, and a lot of people pre-book like for the rest of the year. They'll pre-book for you now. I mean, think about it, people are just getting out of quarantine. So first of all, they're like anxious to get out, to go anywhere for as long as they possibly can. So they're pre-booking. They'll probably be pre-booked up until at least after New Year's, because you have, again, the summer, you have the Labor Day, you have the holidays, and then you have the Christmas, and you have New Year's. So the pre-booking won't take any time at all.
Mm-hmm. All right, next question, Uncle Caleb. Who is the target market? And as ambassadors, do we get a discount if we use their property?
I'll let you answer that.
Typically what I've seen is just like in the Coronado deal, all the LP investors were able to get a discount. And we set it where in the calendar where they will have like a certain amount of slots of a year. that they could come in and book. And we can, we could put that in the PPM and set that up. That's doable. And that's the benefit of course, having 35 investors, because you can easily do that. Mark out the calendar. Hey, these specific times. Of course, you don't want to do it around like Comic-Con and like the 4th of July, because that's when you make the most money.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Or what we've done in the past is that they get allot so many days, and it just has to be available, subject to availability, because we don't, and you don't, they don't want us to lose income. Like you said, if it's sometimes it's booked, but they can actually, subject to availability, they can book it out. And we just limit it to whatever amount of days that we decide. It won't be in the PPM because the PPM is complete, but that's something that we can just do as far as our, policies and procedures. We can have that in there. And that won't be a problem. And maybe we can have even a promo code or a discount code for people that are not actually investors, but that would be, kind of subject to availability.
All right, Kevin, as an LP investor, we don't get equity in the deal, right? Solely the 9 or 10% return annualized, depending on investment. Gary, you want to take it?
Well, they get the
Yeah, you do. That's correct. For the standard ROI is going to be 9 or 10%, depending on your investment. But there is a waterfall at the end. So for 40% of the net profits when we exit will be split amongst the investors.
So you will take advantage of the profits, the monies that are made, the value. Besides just your percentage, you'll get the percentage, plus you'll get
a value add
at the end.
Marcus Hendricks, I may have missed it, but the kitchen being communal, will the residents have their own spaces for food? Desiree, you want to take it?
Most of them are going to be short-term, but they will have things. They have a lot of closet space. They have a lot of refrigerator space. So what we've done in the other properties, we have certain refrigerator space. If someone's there for a longer period of time, like the short-term rentals usually don't have, have a very limited access, because they're just there. They're either going to be eating out or they're going to have something that's delivered in. But the ones that may be there for longer periods of time will have special designated spaces for them. We've had even some of them, we've had locks on the cabinets where, again, it's something for the people that are there monthly and so forth when we have that. So that's not a problem.
Right now, there's refrigerators in the rooms.
Right, but we're not going to keep all of them in the rooms. So we may have some of them in the rooms, like if you can build it into a nice looking unit, like some of the hotels have, where they have it really nicely fixed. But for short-term rentals, it's usually not a concern. They will have access to it, and we'll have designated areas for anyone that's there for the long term.
Kevin, and who would make the decision to sell or not sell? Thanks for answering my question, by the way. Yeah, typically the sponsors, the GPs of the deal, make the decision on who to sell. Now, of course, as LP investors, you have right to your votes and your inputs, but it ultimately will fall on the sponsor to make that decision. And for you military types, you will understand where I might go with this. It's just like being a DevO. It's like being a division officer, and you got your sailors, and you got to look out for their best interests. And of course, you will always get their feedback and their opinions, and you do value that, right? Of course. But ultimately, like, you have to see the bigger picture and make that decision for them. And so for us, as the knowledgeable experts of looking at the market within San Diego, we have to determine when it's best to sell. We have to look at the cap rates. We have to see the appreciation rates. We have to see the interest rates. We have to see what's going on in the market with it when we hit year 4, year 5, year 6. It might be a play where we're cash counting, we're cash flowing, everybody's happy getting their 9-10% return, and everyone's in year 6, and we're like, they want to keep going. And so that might be an option where if that's what we see as best and everyone's happy, that could be a thing. So it really depends on the market, but the sponsors will have to make that decision. Another reason why typically LPs won't make that decision, because think about, you're all going to have different equity shares and splits. One person might invest 50 grand, but another person might invest 100 grand. So you don't want one person to, based on voting rights, determine the outcome of your money based on a voting right, based on what they invest, because you don't know what level of knowledge they have. They shouldn't have more say in a deal just because they invested more, or they might not know as much. So that's another reason why it ultimately falls on the sponsors as the knowledgeable experts to make that decision on when is it time best to sell.
And we'll be deferring to the local realtors, and there's a lot of people that specialize in that area. So, it extends even past our knowledge. They will have their hand on the pulse. and even the agent that's representing us now, he's very well connected in the multi-residential property in that market. So you have a couple people that have, they're in the trenches day after day after day, and they'll give us, they'll tell, he sold it to the previous people, he's selling it to us. He's just very familiar with that area. He just sold it 24 units or 12 units. He has, units all the time. So between the real estate professionals, we'll confer to them for the best time.
Yeah, you have to understand that the LPs, a lot of times, everybody won't have the same objective. Some people are happy to get 9% on their money right now because, they've been investing in CDs and getting 3%. And so they're tickled to death to get 9, and they want it to go on forever. And others are, well, I only want to tie up my money for 4 or 5 years. I don't want to tie it up for 10 years because I like to, get into different asset classes. So everybody's got a different objective. So we're going to look at the market and see what's best for everybody in general, and we'll go from there.
Another question from Kevin: how is the investment secured? Promissory note, insurance? I believe he's talking about you, Gary, you being the guarantor on the loan, correct?
The loan, but your investment will be the LLC.
The LLC will own the property.
LLC will own the property.
So your investment is basically secured by the property.
And then Brackery, what can the average investor be on the lookout for to know when a potential sale is on the horizon?
We'd communicate with you. We'll communicate with you. We would communicate. It's not going to happen. It wouldn't happen without you knowing what's going to happen. I believe in communication. So you'd get videos quarterly, and like I said, updates in between as things happen. So, but when you get your quarterly payouts, you'll get a video. Usually I do videos, and I can incorporate things from that, but I will give you all the updates, and I'll say, okay, this is what we see happening. This is what we're hearing from our realtors, or this is what we're, this is what's happening, and you'll know. You won't be hit by surprise. We want, this is a community together. I feel like we're in it together. We can't do it without you. You can't do it without us. So we're in this together, and we want to all win. And that's our goal, is to be able to provide housing, provide a service to, the community, and to win the process and be a piece of that's California rock.
So we've discussed this with Andre, that we're not looking at this as a one and done. We're looking at this as an asset that we can all make money on, and be a community and help each other. And we feel that we would like to do this again. And if everybody else is on, then we want you to be comfortable with what we're doing. We'll be transparent about what's happening in the LLC. So you'll be getting quarterly updates. You'll be getting your distributions. If you read through the PPM, you'll see that the Class A investors, which is what we're selling here, are first to get paid. So if anything, if there's any shortcomings, that comes off of my end, or off of our end, the GP end. So we're looking out for everybody that's going to be investing, and we're going to be transparent. So if you have any questions, you'll be able to contact us and say, hey, what's going on? The level of hands-on you want,
Well, the big thing is that we want to be able to be excited about this, so we can say, okay, here's the next deal, here's the next deal, here's the next deal. But this is not going to be our first and last. So we want to be able for you to be so excited that you want to be able to invest over and over. And the people that have done, like Nika's had people that invested over and over in her projects and so forth. And that's the best way, to build a community, is people that know, like, and trust you. And, and you'll meet each other. We'll have a launch party. And so those of you who are available can come and meet each other and walk the property and so forth. So we're better together.
Yeah, and just to say one last thing with Gary, with the Class A shares, basically what he's trying to say is that you guys are going to get paid before we get anything as the LP investors. So just to make that plain black and white, we won't get a single cent until you all get your return, your distribution first. So I just want to make that clear. Uncle Caleb, you got another question. My last question, 9 and or 10% is or is it not guaranteed?
Yes.
Well,
Well, the
you
interest
can't,
rate.
we were told not to use the word guarantee.
Okay, all right, yes.
By the lawyers.
Okay,
You can never say guaranteed, but the investors are the first ones to get paid. So as long as there's distributions there, then you will get a percentage.
Yeah,
You-
but
and
as you know,
has to make sure you get the full percentage. We're going to work as hard as we can to make sure this is going to make money, and it'll make money for all of us. Because if it's, I don't want to work, as much as I have been lately, trying to put this together, and be getting, $50 a month.
we wanted to, it's going to be a win-win. Again, the
Yes.
thing is that you've done the numbers, and the numbers based on the numbers is going to be, so we're doubling what it is now.
Mhm.
And if you can double what it is now, then it gives us plenty of funds to be able to pay all the expenses and to be able to pay all the investors. And that's the numbers that we're working with.
no, you're right, Kevin and Uncle Kayla, no returns are guaranteed. That's true. But that's just like when you invest in the stock market, right? Not guaranteed. And I'd rather invest in something. I'd rather invest in a business where I can run the numbers and the financials, the profit and loss statements, look at the rent rolls, look at the comps and say, yep, that's my income. That's my expensive. Here's the neighborhood. Can't change the neighborhood. It is what it is. Everyone knows location, location, location. And this is a great deal or not. I'd rather not invest something where the CEO of Nike can go outside and pull his pants down and then the stock market of Nike go down. Everyone might know me. I'm personally a risk taker. So I literally pulled out all my stocks and went, all in on real estate because I'm a believer in it. It's done well. It's just one of those asset classes that can't beat.
The long-term wealth real estate has always been number one. So I know
Well-
most of you know that. And again, a lot of people are having to look outside of California to be able to invest. So to be able to invest in California with this opportunity is just what it is. It's an opportunity.
All right, another question from Kevin. How often does this team raise capital? Do you have other deals in the pipeline? Desiree, you want to take it?
Yeah, this is the only one that I'm raising capital for at this time. The last one I did was for Homework, it was 2017, 2018, whatever like that, but this is the only one that we're raising capital for, the syndication at this time.
Well,
We're involved in
Yeah.
other syndications. I'm invested in different syndications. This is the only one that we are leading.
this is, let us get this one done first, okay, guys? Well, once we get this one finished, then we'll start looking. Don't know when the next one's going to pop up. I mean, we've looked at several. We've been looking since October
Mhm.
for
A good deal.
certain deals, and
Mhm.
have looked at a couple of others, and they didn't pan out. So this is the first one that we were really excited
It was a
about.
no-brainer.
So
Yep, it's a no-brainer.
He comes along, and Andre will help us now because we figure he's a team member now. So I'm sure he'll help us look at some more of these deals that are out there.
And Nika will help us look for
Yep.
some more deals, so
Yep.
we can
So-
just stay busy, but this one at a time.
Yeah.
You
Let's
can
build our own.
Like I say, I'm not looking at this to be a one and done. With Andre and everybody on board, we'll all get together and go. We'll more eyes on the deals that are coming our way, and if we get a good community going, we may come back to you in 3 months and say, hey, we got another good opportunity for you. And then again, it may be a year before anything else comes along. So
Yeah. Oliva, he's asking 50K is the minimum investment requirement. Yes, that is a minimum investment requirement. We will look at things case by case basis if you can invest a little bit less, but that's by case basis. But we're asking for the 50K, and that's what you want too. Better returns if you meet the minimum threshold, and that allows us to have better return projections too if everyone comes in at the 50K. Kevin asks, who found this deal? How do you find it?
oh, you wanted to give our secrets away.
No, I found the
That's
deal
okay.
and I found it on Kretzy.
Yeah.
Just the website named Kretzy. Like Gary said, I have been looking for months, from all over the United States, looking for months. And it just it's really, really quick to analyze the deals, and it has to again be not just a small spread, it has to be a large spread. So this one had a large spread. It was like, okay, well, if the short-term rental for something didn't pan out, then okay, we have the military, and they have, you know, family members that visit them from time to time, so that's a student market. But if that didn't show up, we have the medical, we have all the doctors and all the surgeons and people that are visiting, and families that are visiting because they have people having surgeries. That didn't work, but we have all the colleges and the education, the students, the foreign students. Foreign students write checks, they don't even know what the property is. They don't know what the property value is. So they'll write checks for their students to be in a safe place. If that didn't work out, we had the travel nurses. I mean, so I had to work at so many different ways, you know, to make sure that it met the certain criteria and that it would make sense for us. So that's how we found it. And that's how we found the properties.
Yeah. I mean, just to piggyback off that. So it's interesting, Desiree brought up the foreign students. So my PB property was ran that way. This guy had multiple multifamily units throughout the city of San Diego. We have many schools, like the Old English School. There's one in La Jolla. There's one in downtown. There are multiple international schools, and the schools will literally just pay, you know, off the credit card to the owner of the property. And he was cash flowing out this world. And of course, when COVID happened, he decided to sell all his properties, and he just bought one of the biggest property management companies in Phoenix. That's how I acquired the property in PB. And that's why he wanted to sell. So just to give you perspective, again, that's the beauty of multifamily. There's so many different unique business models you can do to adapt given to what's going on in the market. Shane is asking, is there a possibility to add units to the project? Is there a basement? If so, we could add a few meters down there with ADUs.
12 is not enough. Okay.
There's a crawl space.
I suppose if they don't mind crawling around the room.
There's a crawl space outside. I think we pretty maxim out that. You want to change that attic and make it to another room, but it's pretty maxed. And you know, I'm surprised. I can't believe they got that in there for the little over 2,900 square feet. That just blows me away. You know, because I've been in all the units and they're not uncomfortable. You know, they're not uncomfortable at all. So I don't know. You know, I guess I say unless there's something under the crawl space, or we
could rip off the roof and keep going, right?
I guess we could add a third floor.
ADU for the Stephen, assuming you will send out the pamphlet so we could continue looking over the listing and the plans for updating, hoping to chew it over after the discussion. So we'll send out the recording of this that you'll have, and you can replay it and relook at everything. You'll see the questions and all that. We will definitely send that. That's another reason why I said it to everyone, even if you can't attend, please RSVP. So that way I can send that out, but I would definitely do that.
And then anyone who's interested in knowing more, then you'd reach out to Andre, you know, and let him know what your intentions are and what your capital commitment could be. And then based on that, then he would send you the PPM, which is the actual formal document with the wire instructions and with everything else. So then that way you would just know that you're making that capital commitment. And if any questions that he can answer for you, you'd be able to answer that for you.
Yeah. Any more questions?
What's the drop dead date for investors?
Okay, so our drop dead date was originally the 8th. So we've extended to is it the 18th?
Well,
Let's say the 18th.
So we don't know how this is going to go yet. So it may be it's going to fill up by the 8th. Once we fill all the slots, it's on a first come, first served basis. So that's how we're going to approach it. We're hoping to have everything in by the 8th. If we have to go a day or two beyond that, I think it'd be all right.
I think the difference is that some people have made capital commitments. They committed to X amount of dollars, but they're having to use self-directed IRAs, making those transitions, which sometimes takes a week. Someone's actually she's pulling money out of a investment that's going to take about 3 or 4 days. So as long as we have your commitment, we'll hold your spot. You know, if you say, okay, I need more time because I'm doing this, then we'll hold your spot for you at the capital commitment. And then when that happens, because we have some flexibility, we just obviously the sooner we have the cash, the sooner we're going to be able to close, and everything else happens from there.
Good. Actually, to piggyback off that, and I think this will help a lot of people in terms of investing. If you're worrying about where the funds may come from, if you feel like you don't have like liquid cash, self-directed IRAs, basically what it is, if you don't know, it's what pretty much a lot of wealthy people use to invest in real estate. So basically what they'll do is there's certain companies that'll do it. They'll do it within a few days, like Desiree was saying, and you'll basically roll over your 401k, your IRA, your Roth IRA into this self-directed IRA. What a self-directed IRA allows you to do, it allows you to invest in more than just like stocks and index funds, right? It allows you to invest in real estate. So you can hold the real estate within a self-directed IRA, and you can get better tax benefits from that than just holding it in a Roth IRA or 401k or a regular retirement account. So that's what a Roth IRA, self-directed Roth IRA is. A lot of people on the Coronado deal that we did, like literally rolled their accounts over into self-directed IRA, and now can invest in real estate, and it's a win-win for them. So that's an option. For us military types is the TSP. So I invested in the Coronado deal using my TSP. So this one is good for us. So take whatever value amount that you have in your thrift saving plan, the TSP account, slash that in half, and that's what you can invest. I got my funds within a couple of days. So I literally went on the TSP website, put in my request and say, this is what I want to withdraw. You have two loan options. You could do the general loan or the home buying loan. So in this case, you do the general loan. It'll give you the interest rate, which is, of course, is super low. You're paying yourself back. And I got the check within, like I said, a few days. And then I put that into the syndication deal in Coronado. So very quick turnaround in terms of being able to access those funds. And a lot of people don't know that. Like a lot of people had those questions about the self-directed IRA. They had those questions about the TSP. Some people even put out of their stocks and took the 10% penalty. In my opinion, again, I'm more bullish. I'm more aggressive. I would do it. I think if I'm investing in real estate, if a deal comes my way, I'm going to take the hit to invest in real estate because I'm just going to get a better return. Just my personal opinion. But again, I just think that it was important to address the TSP part and the self-directed IRA part because a lot of people don't know about that. And when you do mention it to them, it's like a game changer in terms of their perspective in investing in real estate. So that if you have any questions about that, please let me know. I can answer that because I've done it myself, and I know many people that have done it.
If you have any questions about anything, if any parts of this sounds good to you, then I suggest that you reach out to Andre and talk about it, because again, something you may not even think about obviously until you hang up, and then that will give you the opportunity to, and he can, since he's involved and he's done it and he is doing it, he'll be able to give you the best advice that you're going to need.
All right.
All right. You think it's a wrap?
It's a wrap.
Any more questions, ideas? Thank you. Anyone want to thank us? Anyone want to thank Andre? Anyone want to
I
thank?
want to thank you. That was great.
Yeah.
I really appreciated it, and I want to
meet
thank
everyone.
Sumter for inviting me.
Yeah, Kevin, man, thanks for the tough questions. I love it. It was good because you challenge everybody else in this meeting, and it allowed to think differently and answer questions too. So definitely appreciate that. I will be, like I said, sending this out for everyone to review. And of course, if you have any questions, just let me know. But thanks everybody for signing in.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Andre, for putting this together. And I want to thank everyone for showing up. And thank you, Nika, for your contribution. And thank you, Mr. It takes a team. It takes a team. So thank you so much. And again, if you have any questions, reach out to us. We'd love to, if it's not this deal, if you want us to keep you in mind for the next deal, for whatever reason, then please let Andre know. All right.
All right.
Until we meet again.
Thank you, Andre.
Hope to see you all at the launch. Let's get ready.
Yeah.
I want to see all of you at the launch. Take care.